Okay.
All right, back again. Bloke's podcast number 3, huh?
Hold on.
Oh,
Press the intro music.
Louis. All right, here we are.
Hi, episode 3 already. Under 2 weeks, already pumped out 3.
Ring, ring, ring.
Well, let's go.
What do we get up to this week, huh?
Well, you guys can start.
I know, pretty full on at work, uni, same. Don't really have any highlights. The highlight of my week was literally going to Milton Markets on Sunday, so I'm like a 40-year-old mum here. But yeah, that's literally me.
Well, you don't hate the Milton Markets. They're actually good.
They're good. That was about
They're good, yeah.
Will I be back? Maybe.
Yeah, bro,
maybe
good
I will
food.
be. Actually, on that, like political talk, I didn't realize that the election's coming up with all the fucking political parties outside.
Yeah, I had to submit my ballot thing, what is it?
The AEC.
Yeah.
You're not enrolled.
Well, I had to submit it.
I had to enroll this year too. For
Yeah.
some reason,
Yeah, you have to enroll every year, don't you?
No.
Some people don't know. Some people still live with their parents, and their parents gets all their mail for them. So.
Oh, right. Was that a shot at me?
Yeah, it was.
No, I'm already enrolled. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you'll find out once you get taxed.
I'll say I'm fined. Nah, that's all right. I'm a global citizen.
Fine,
Yeah,
sorry,
right.
No,
Anyway, let's hope no one from the electoral commission's watching this.
Skymo's watching, boys. Well, what did you get up to, Jax?
Oh man, I actually had a pretty chill week with uni, which was good. So got to do a lot of beefy bloke stuff. Been calling multiple people every day for collabs and just stuff we're getting done behind the scenes, like artwork and stuff like that. We're getting our 3D animation artwork done, so been sorting them out as well. But other than that, just researching the market as well.
And for those top 10 blokes,
Yeah, also the top 10 blokes, I was sorting out their stuff, their custom blokes.
be interesting to see what the blokes come up with, huh?
Yeah, I think it was just it was a good week for us as a team to be brainstorming and stuff, and also we're working on our beef marketplace in the Discord. So yeah, a lot happened in the beefy blokes world this week. It might not look like it from the insider's perspective, but from the from the company side, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, that's it. What about you, Lewis?
What about me? It was an interesting week. In terms of beefy blokes, we'll start there. I had a couple of calls this week to get people onto the Blokes podcast, which is pretty exciting.
Yep.
So, a couple of well, there's a few big names as per se that are lined up, which is exciting.
Just interesting people.
Yeah, different. 3 people from different walks of
Completely
lives.
different.
They all have that business though in them, that they're all
Yep.
respected in the business world. I would
And
say.
we can actually say one person's name that we've locked in.
Go on.
Phil DeBella.
I wonder if anyone got my segue there at the start.
Yeah.
What was the
surely.
segue?
The professional family business. That's what he always says. I might have butchered it. Sorry, Phil, if you're watching this, but
I missed that one.
He thoroughly enjoys that balance aspect of things.
Yeah, I'm so keen for that.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. That's a big name too.
Yeah,
That is a big
far out.
name.
I mean, in a completely oversaturated market in Australia for the coffee business,
Yeah,
he had the number one business.
yeah. So we got him, and then there's another guy who's into luxury goods. He's based out of the US, particularly watches, and he's pretty big into the crypto and NFT world as well. So yeah, he sells some pretty high end watches to some pretty high end clients. So keen to get him on the potty, and he's got a pretty cool story too. So
And he's going to hook us up with deals.
let's hope so. New rollies.
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, that was what a lot of my week consists of. And then I go away for work next week for 2 weeks. So
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, actually, I had a call. Was it last night? Yeah, last night was Thursday night. With a bloke named Declan who run a podcast out of Brisbane, like literally really similar to what we're looking to doing. It was called Office Guys. I think it was Office Guys, yeah. And he had a wide range of guests on.
Good
people,
guests.
Yeah, people really high end in like business world, property world, mental health advocates, a couple of that, even some shared guests that we're looking at getting on. So I'd encourage the community to go check out that. Just type up Office Guys on YouTube. You'll be able to check out all his content. And I spoke to him about what we're doing. He hooked us up with another podcast that's going really well in Brisbane.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so we'll be looking into maybe doing something with them, but even then it was just good to pick his brain and see where he went right and also went wrong. He shared with me a couple of interesting tips. So
It's good.
It's an exciting week. I got a text from Mum last night, and she's like, Lewis, I'm watching the news. What's going on with this NFT market? They're saying it's all going to shit. It's all going badly. And I was like, interesting, Mum, that you're picking up on the word NFT to start off with.
Yeah,
but I thought that's an interesting point. What do you think's going on in the market at the moment?
I think it's interesting that they're even talking about it, bro.
Yeah, facts.
Well, what they'd be getting confused with the cryptocurrency market in general, though.
They're getting completely confused. People that don't even understand cryptocurrency are also just putting NFT in front of their names because it's
Which,
the hype.
to be honest, is completely fair.
Which is fair because it's all... Because the NFT market does follow it, and it's all underneath. So yeah, it makes sense.
Especially for like someone like Lewis's mum or my mum, for that matter.
Yeah,
I would completely forgive them for.
Oh no, 100%. But if they're going to be saying like the NFT market's crashing, it's really the crypto market's crashing.
Yeah. Well, the global
market's crashing.
Yeah, but then at the same time, like I mean, ETH's sitting at like $3,800 now. It was at it was at $4,000 a few days ago.
AUD,
Australian dollars. That is like.
Yeah, it was.
How shit like how bad is this crash? Like it's
pretty
like
bad.
All right, it's probably still going down, but really like a couple of $100, bit of money off $4,000. But in the grand scheme of things, like we're not going through the fucking global financial crisis again.
No, but yeah,
I mean, is it going to lead to that?
ETH isn't a good example of what's taking a shit. A lot of other things have taken a worse shit.
Like what?
Like Crow. Bitcoin, it has actually taken a pretty bad.
Yeah, no.
Stock markets have.
ETH has taken a shit.
It's not too bad.
You just don't have the graph up. Well, it's still down 50% from top, right? So
but from the fucking top, bro.
No, but that's what I'm saying though. So it's still shat, but not as bad.
But ever since the last podcast, hasn't done that much.
Exactly, and that's when the news.
But it's
that's
not
what I mean.
Shiba Inu, of course.
Yeah, but everyone knows it's taken a 50% dip.
Which I mean, you look at the stock market generally. Yeah. Like it always comes back to crypto on a negative.
Can we stop stealing my points here? I was going to talk.
I mean, I remember when it was at $6,000 AUD, and I was like, "Fuck, it's going to the moon."
Dad, buy in now.
No, that was at 2,400. Me and Dad got in.
Easy 2.5x, huh?
Yeah,
no worries.
It's pretty nice.
Sell the top.
Nice. I got in before that, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that was an interesting one from Mum.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, well, Dad and Mum are both on it, but they're purely Bitcoin focused. They're obviously not invested.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
No, they haven't. I think Dad has a Crypto.com account. I don't know if he's put any in.
Well, his son's a fanatic.
I just see him walking around with his head down. Just he's
a degen.
Nah, he seems to be. I don't think he's invested yet, but probably be good to hold off and wait on the sidelines, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
I will start us off.
Leading into another thing, the community, we asked for community suggestions of what we should talk about.
Yeah.
Might just start doing this when it's just us on podcast. So I got a few that I won't hug it because it'll take forever for me to go through them all at once. But yeah, so one of the suggestions to talk about was Tripsters, the NFT project that released this week, which a lot of people in our community are part of, and I was a part of. I've got a little description I wrote because I kind of answered it beforehand to make sure I knew what I was going to say. So yeah, I managed to make 0.7 ETH profit after the mint. I don't think I'll buy back in. I must say though, I don't think it's terrible, but it does have it has red flags that I think I'd rather just invest my money into other projects or in the projects that are in our alpha section of our Discord. Quick little plug. But why they fucked up, and because people were thinking it was a blue chip project, not any whales or anything. I mean, people would argue different, but they fucked up on the Bored Ape giveaway that they were doing. So they had 4 Bored Apes they were giving away anyway. The first one was for the OG members, 500 people, and they ended up giving it to someone who bought off the secondary market. And it was like they gave a Bored Ape to the wrong person.
Oh, fuck.
Like, do you know how bad that is, right? So everything, I was like, as soon as I saw that, I sold and took
You'd be happy to be that one person, though.
I mean, if you got a by accident, yeah. Fuck. So yeah, then the project didn't do as good as anticipated because all the big players saw that and was like, well, that's not great, you know? Like, I'm not going to, even myself, I sold it. As soon as I saw that, I sold. And what is the floor price right now? Like 0.7 or something.
Right. What was mint?
Like, I don't know. Like, they even had to cut the supply in half to sell out. They had to change the mint prices. But yeah, my reasons and personal, like, these are my personal reasons. Obviously, you don't have to take from this, but my reasons why I think they didn't do good and my opinions on the whole project are that, like, the founding team just doesn't know how to run a community. They're too, like, business minded. Like, they're not heavily involved. Like, we've got the admin, one of the admins in our server, they're really, like, the admins and the team, like, in the Discord, they know how to run the community. They're pretty good at it. But the issue is there's a disconnection, I'm pretty sure, between the founders and they don't really talk as much as they should be, or they don't necessarily understand how it works, which I think they probably thought, well, we can just pay these people, they'll sort it out all for us. But they also are people that are coming up with the ideas, right? And the people that have the final say. And I just think the utility sucks. Like, if you're going to provide 10 different collections, so their whole thing is like you hold a Tripstar, you get a baggie, and then you use that baggie to trip out a blue chip project and you get another NFT. And my thing is like, how do they provide utility for each different collection that's tripped out? The only people that are making money are the people that sold the baggies to the people that could mint. Anyway. So the people that are buying the tripped out version, they just have art. Like, what's the actual utility there? How are they going to provide utility for 10 different plus collections? Like, I just don't see that being possible. And then just like, so they cut the supply, which I think is actually pretty smart because they weren't going to sell out. But if you do a quick calculation, you can check how much the team would spend. Like, they bought 4 Bored Apes. I think 5 Bored Apes because they bought Tom Brady's one. So they probably spent like over 1.8 million in apes, right? And they had to cut the price down. They also had to cut the supply down, so they wouldn't have made as much as they anticipated, right? They also spent a shit ton in marketing, paid the whole team. Like, they probably would have spent millions, right? So they wouldn't have got as much back. And like, I just think, you know, like, they're probably going to end up taking it. Like, the founders themselves aren't even that. They're not doxed. Half the team isn't doxed, more than half, sorry, and half of them are brand new Twitter accounts. I think the admins in the community and the mods are good. I think it's just the founders. Like, how can we trust them that, seeing as they got a little cut compared to what they thought they were going to get, how can we trust they're going to actually put it all back into? And I personally just don't see the vision.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out.
It will be interesting. I'm personally not going to buy back in, but that's my thoughts on it. That's just there was a lot of websites coming out before, and there's like this project that does analysis on up and coming projects, and it says if it's a rug or not. It has like ratings for each thing. It has like all these characteristics. And they think they scored like a 5 out of 10.
Right.
And a big thing was because the founders aren't docs and they're brand new accounts. One of the founders I think. He's like a business guy, successful business guy, whatever. But I guess that doesn't mean anything, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway. Another one I'll get into really quick because it's pretty fast is someone asked about my thoughts on the Solana and NFT marketplaces.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, so Lewis's brother actually has only ever invested in Solana NFTs. And if you ask him, he's been rugged multiple times. Every single Solana project I've bought has been rugged. So if you don't know what rugged means, it just means like the people just scammed and ran away, which it doesn't necessarily mean they had to do it straight away. They can slowly rug you, so they slowly disappear. And basically no one knows who they are because they don't show their face or whatever. But the reason why it's so easy to do it on Solana Marketplace is because there's no gas fees.
Yeah.
So even us, when we upload our contracts to the website to mint, it's going to cost us like $12K in gas fees. Whereas for them, it's $0 to even do that. So just building the project itself is cheaper, and then just getting out is cheaper. Anyway, and people usually just FOMO into those projects and buy them because it's no gas fees, right?
Yeah. See, I think the interesting thing with Solana though as well, from a community perspective, is like 2 main things. One thing, it's a good way to get into the space because there's no gas fees and they're often cheap. Second thing, if you're in it to make money and kind of do the entrepreneurial flip thing, I reckon it's not a bad platform.
Oh, it is good.
Because you buy it, no gas fees. There's usually a fair bit of hype around those projects. Hold it for whenever until mint, after mint, and then once the project actually is released and unveiled, and then sell.
That's an issue though, because a lot of people don't sell. They go, oh, it's actually going to the moon.
Well, and that's the thing. It depends on how you go into it with that perspective.
But then compared to OpenSea, compared to Ethereum marketplaces, there's way more rugs, but there are still good projects, and one of my favorite, which I've got massive FOMO on, it's basically the Bored Ape of that thing, but it's not as expensive, but they're called D-Gods, right? Oh, yeah. They've been around for a minute now. They're proven. They're on their second roadmap, I think now maybe third. They do good shit, but one in specific that they just did this week, which I love, by the way, is they went and bought out a fucking 3v3 basketball team, like a three...
the one that Ice Cube, that competition that Ice Cube owns, because I know he's involved in that project.
I think maybe that was that one, yeah. And they went and bought a team. Like, that was part of their community vote, like, DAO thing. Is they were like, let's go buy a team. You know, like, that's just something cool. I mean, they've got way more better use cases. Just an example I thought of. But yeah, I've got another one.
Is Snoop behind that one? Snoop Dogg?
I'm not sure. I don't really know too much about D-Gods. All I know is I just can't afford it.
But the issue is there. So those Solana NFTs, the big ones are there, but then like 98% are just shit.
More than 98%, in my opinion.
That, but then again, I guess you'd make the same argument for Ethereum.
Yeah, same as Ethereum. I just think,
I don't know. It's good to get your feet wet in the space, but you can also get burnt just as easily. So
I think as well, it's a good place to learn. I'm personally probably a bad person to speak on it fully because I'm not in it all the time.
No, I don't. Do any of us have a Solana NFT?
No, I have like 5, but they're all been rugged.
Yeah, I've never even looked at it, to be honest.
I know one dude who might be getting on the podcast, who's based here in Brisbane. He's really heavy into the Solana NFT space, so it'll be fascinating to get his perspective on what he thinks of the communities in there, and like just get that different perspective.
So what's the number one Solana project?
D-Gods.
And that's the one where it's like looks like apes, but not really. They're like 3D-ish.
Oh no, that's a Degen Ape Academy.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what I'm thinking.
That one
about.
might be the biggest actually.
Yeah, I thought so because I was just having a quick squiz of it the other day.
Either way,
actually.
this D-Gods one pops off.
Yeah.
Like
I was looking at them last night.
like if you're looking at one that's like, oh the shit, that's actually going to stay around.
Yeah.
It's that one.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like wanted to mix two together in this because it makes more sense. Phantom in specific asked this. He goes, so what projects am I watching? And then things needed to create a successful project. And I kind of just want to, I don't really want to split it up. I just want to say like my tips are when you're looking at a project, I guess, like what do I look for? To make sure that the team is doxed and that they have proven success. But obviously, for example, we don't necessarily have proven success, but it doesn't really matter. If not, just look that they're actually doing the things that they say they're going to do, right? Like that's a good way to tell if they're not have a proven success and they're doxed like us. And then I look for the uniqueness. So this is like an order. Like this is how I would do it. And I would look for like the uniqueness of the utility. Like what do they offer that no one else does? Like because as everyone says, 98% of projects are going to fail. And the reason is because they're so similar to each other. Yep. It's the same reason as like why, projects in Web 2 fail because it's too similar to another one, which makes it harder if they're all the same. And then I look at the community on Twitter and Discord in specific. Like I look at how active they are. If it's not just GM, if it's not botted accounts, and then my next one is like I look if it's botted. And then I look to see if the art, to see if it even makes sense. Like the art's probably the last thing I look at, but at the same time it's very important because if it's shitty art, it's not going to do well regardless.
Yeah, you're not going to like looking at it if it does go to shit as well. And it's
if you're going to use it as your profile picture, or some people are going to use it as their profile picture, so you got to determine if it's good or not. Yeah. Obviously, it's all personal opinion.
Yeah. So then off the back of that, which ones are you looking at the moment, like your top 3?
Well, I haven't really written them down, but like obviously off the top of my head, the ones I'm holding, like I like Floz Inc. I put that one in the alpha all the time, and people, I don't think anyone's actually listening to me, but you guys are going to regret it. I've got so many of them.
Have you listened to them?
No.
I mean, you just look at the team, like in that specific example, they've been sitting at a floor price that's pretty steady for a very long time. But you go to their white paper and it's a fucking team of 40 people. Every single one of them's doxed. They're constantly working towards a goal. So it's meant, it's like, that's something you look at and you're like, oh, I'm going to invest in.
That sounds like a project that's launching out of Melbourne, actually, with such a large team. Reminds me today, actually.
Good ideas.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about that?
We can. Yeah.
I don't know. I really like their hype video that I saw just before. That's so cool. With old Ponch in there.
Yeah,
shout out to Ponch.
Shout out at Good Ideas on Twitter and Instagram. And Mikey Babe in specific.
Yeah, just waiting for that video to come out.
Well, yeah, it's coming out soon. No, but they opened their Discord today, so shouts out to them.
That's good, yeah.
Are you keeping an eye? Is that your one that you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, well, Jackson and I, fortunately, what's their supply? It's really low. It's like 500.
No, 420, I think.
Oh, is it? Well, Jackson and I are already in that Discord now, so if you want to get in, probably get in now.
Yeah, get in now because there's like pre-sales open.
Thanks for the invite, fellas.
I thought
Mikey,
you were in it.
I sent it. I sent it to the Snapchat
today.
The issue
is
anyway,
it's because you didn't join the AMA.
Yeah, that's right.
You didn't get there, mate. Sorry.
And because you didn't show up to the IRL event to meet it.
You didn't get COVID.
Work.
Yeah, you didn't get COVID
exactly.
from it.
That was a small price to pay.
Another project, other side. Bullish.
I haven't.
Let's talk about that one after.
I've got that after, but I've got another project that I must say that I wish I could forward right now. Like if I had capital and I wasn't building a project, and I have previously been in it, is Llamaverse. Like I am ungodly bullish about that, and I think if you have 4 ETH, there's no way in hell you should not put it into there if you're thinking about putting it into an NFT project. I honestly think it's so bullish. Like everything he does, they're innovators. They're literally just people like us, and then he built a team around him. And they've just done numbers.
What's their floor price?
It's like 4.5, but I think but to put it in perspective, there's only 4,000.
Yeah.
3,500 of them aren't animated and 500 of them are animated anyway. Only 112 of them are listed on OpenSea because the rest of them are staked. Every single, 3,900 or whatever are staked. That's pretty crazy.
Tokenomics going on.
It's all like people copy them.
Yeah.
He's on it. Not like a 55k supply, huh?
All right. Well, let's go on to your 3, and then we'll bounce to my 3. And
my 3 projects.
The 3 that you're watching at the moment.
No. You go first.
Oh, come on, Hughesy.
No.
All right. My 3 at the moment. The V Friends, both of them. Series 1, Series 2, and we've got some V Friends haters in the house, so we'll jump to that. Maybe.
No, let's go right
next
now.
topic.
No, I'm not a hater.
All right, V Friends. I'll go through my. All right, no, yeah, let's just jump to it now. V Friends.
V Friends 2.
Why are you against V Friends 2?
I just don't like the idea of it.
Why?
I just can't see how you have 55k of anything. And so, quick calcs I did this afternoon, actually.
Yeah.
So, if they all go to 1 ETH, and if 1 ETH is sitting at $4,000, just for the sake of the argument, that's 225 mil.
Yeah, but you're looking at numbers like that.
What's 225 mil?
The total like market cap per se of the
That's
whole
not
project.
how it works.
I know, but that's how I look at it.
Why?
That's such a bad way to look at it.
How is that a bad?
Why look at it that way?
Because I just can't see how. So if you buy for 1 ETH, and then there's 55,000, how are you then gonna like potentially see a return on your investment? And then if it goes to 2 ETH, that's a $500 million thing.
No, okay, now let me cut in.
Okay,
All right. We'll try not to talk over each other because this is a heated topic for us.
I just think it's legitimately.
So I think personally, with a $55,000 supply, it's smart. There's a reason why he's doing it. The only thing I don't see is why Lewis would invest in it now, and I don't think it is a good investment to be in right now. That VFriends 2, that is. VFriends 1 is actually a good investment. I think VFriends 2 isn't a good investment because no matter what thing he says, what announcement he makes, it's not going to be that good because he's told people basically what it is going to be.
No, he hasn't.
He basically has. He's hinted at it.
All he said is that it's going to turn into it like their characters and it's the IP around that. But the actual, which is the same as VFriends 1. So the VFriends 1, they're all characters that he's building into these books and cartoons and animations and these music videos and songs.
A children's book.
But that's fucking smart.
And so that's the IP behind that. But the actual utility, so for example, the gift go, that's got the utility of getting the gifts however many times a year. The Hawk one, it's the utility of being able to call Gary and his team however many times a year. Yeah. He's not released any of the actual utility around VFriends Series 2.
So what's your crazy piranha?
I get that. I get that, but there's 55,000 of them, so it's not as good as the first ones immediately because...
No, that's what I'm saying. If it was 0.25 ETH, sure, shoot your shot. Then you get to potentially 1.5 ETH and you've done great. But I think if you're buying it at 1 ETH, I just can't see it running too much.
No, I just don't think it running anytime soon.
I agree with that incredibly. Like, it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon, but give it, I reckon, 5 years.
You just want to get on a call with Gary.
I honestly think you're underrating the children aspect of it. Because once NFTs become a thing where it's not even like people aren't saying NFT, it's like just an understanding technology that everyone understands. They're not talking about it. And when he implements the NFT into the children's books the way he does, well, no one knows how he's going to do that necessarily, but obviously it's going to be like you have some sort of ownership in the
and that's the thing. Like once he claims he wants to be the next Walt Disney. You'll roll your eyes at that. Expected. Fair enough. But what happens when he's subpar to Walt Disney, builds the next, say, Disneyland as per se, and then you then get whatever utility it is out of that, because they're going to be on the forefront of all of this. So when they're going to be able to start selling the books, what happens if royalty kickbacks?
What if you have a 3-year-old that's absolutely obsessed with this children's series, and you can be like, I actually own that one.
Yeah, and he says stuff like he teases, and he's so good at it. He says, "Well, I consider buying an island and being a holder of a VFriends gets you to that island, or I've considered buying businesses." And everyone that holds a VFriend will be a business partner or a shareholder in that business.
I like that, but anyone can say that, and he's obviously going to say that, and I think he will do that stuff. But that's him pumping his project by saying that stuff. That's making you want to buy it now, even though he's not going to do that for many, 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 many years.
Yeah, but I'm not expecting him to do it for many years.
I know that. That's why I don't understand why he puts 0.75 in now.
But then what happens when it's too late? So for example, imagine
but he's saying he just sold his long-term stocks to buy this, so Lewis has locked it away.
But then, like, say with imagine the amount of people that saw Bored Apes or Mutant Apes when they were lower.
Yeah, but I don't think you can compare that. I think that's genuinely like a unicorn. Like, it's probably not going to happen again. To be honest, no, I mean, obviously it will happen again, but not to that gravity. If you know what I'm saying.
Llamaverse.
I think he's tripping.
No, but that's for Ethan. I'm saying like you're not going to.
No. But Llamaverse, like, imagine the amount of people when Jackson saw it and sold his. Okay. He didn't realize that it would pump as quickly as it probably. Yep. Well, so you probably did realize.
So when I bought Llamaverse, it was a closed Discord at the time, and they said you have to pay me 0.9. I think it was 0.95 ETH to get into the Discord, and there was a discount going on. Someone messaged me saying 0.7 ETH right now, paying to get into the Discord, and I read it all, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna mess with this. Got in there, and then it was just like it's called a gold. I had a gold one at the time. There was gold and silver. 6 months go by, it's December, and he's saying how he's going to... This is actually funny, as you're going to think I'm just an idiot. So he's saying how, my new collection's coming. At this time, I was so busy. I wasn't... Like, this was like one of those Discords that I had, but it was sitting at the bottom because I wasn't going in there all the time. Mm-hmm. And you had to submit your wallet address to get a claim for the next one. So basically, I would have got a free llama, which is what they've released now. I had a gold one. And so I could have got a free llama plus the gold thing I have, which is now the booster. Anyway, I ended up just selling my gold one because I was pissed. I'm like, I didn't get the free claim. Anyway, I did manage to make decent profit. Like, I think I sold the gold one for 7.2 ETH and I bought it for 0.7 or whatever. So I did make my money and it was a good investment. But like, just if I was active in the Discord and I submitted my wallet, I could be sitting on those animated llamas go for like 20 ETH.
Yeah, and see, that's my concern. It's like, and it happened with VFriends 1 of just pushing it to the wayside.
And then supply.
It's so different.
And missing the
It's so
opportunity.
different though.
Really?
It's so much more different. The supply is different.
Supply.
No, but I'm not shitting on it. I think Daniel just doesn't understand NFTs at all.
No, okay, well that's a bold statement. No,
That
I
is
just
a bold
don't like the
statement.
whole like vision of it. I don't know.
But you said earlier that you reckon he's cash grabbing.
I just don't like his whole attitude for some reason. Like, you know, there's people who you don't like, but you don't really have a reason not to like them. Like that's borderline me with Gary Vee. I think I'm just trying to go against the whole mantra of it.
Okay, well that's a different point in itself.
That's what I was saying outside, but
just
you're
being-
all roasting me.
I think
was
that's just jealousy, but
I don't really have a reason.
You're going against it because it's everyone's
no,
going
you're right.
for
I'm
it.
jealous of Gary Vee.
I'm kidding.
We were in the same class once, and you know, like, nah, I don't know. I
Look,
just
fair
don't.
enough, but
I think we should.
it's going to get fucking crazy.
Okay,
But
we'll
yeah,
see.
so
That's-
another one I'm looking at.
bold.
So VFriends, and then I'm obviously just keeping an eye on what's happening with both the 8 projects. Obviously, couldn't buy right now, but just interested to see what those prices do. And number 3, other side.
You're right.
Yeah. Speaking of, I've got a whole.
What are your 3?
Oh yeah, well, you're gonna love this one. My first one is loaded lines on the Crow marketplace, which I really love, and I was looking at buying in the other day actually because it's dipped quite significantly with the Crow news. And then my second one is just the fucking other side. That's all I've got.
All right.
Okay.
But yeah,
Lions.
no.
Well, I can explain the other side to everyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, go.
I've got a whole thing written down.
Hit it.
All right, so the other side land claim, I'll speak about me specifically first. So last week I got extremely lucky with my mutant. I was able to claim an other side land. And why I got extremely lucky, not just because I was able to claim 3 ETH basically for free, but I pulled an other side land with a coda. So what the other side is, and the other side is the newest and biggest metaverse project. It's also the biggest NFT project ever released, according to numbers. Created by Yuga Labs, the team that did Bored Ape Yacht Club, obviously the biggest project in the world. Although we don't have too much information on it yet, what makes it different from, like, say, Sandbox or Decentraland is that they have a storyline built into it, which makes it more encouraging for gamers, possibly kids, also NFT G-gens and everyday people. Like, as we've seen with Sandbox and Decentraland, there's no storyline, it's just an open world. So if there's a storyline, people are more enticed to play. Like, actual gamers are actually more enticed to play, especially if there's a pay-to-earn aspect of. That's just my opinions. That's what the opinions are. Obviously, there's not much information released on it yet, but I think information is going to be either released tomorrow or next week. Like, so that's when it's going to happen. So they had a $400 million investment from venture capitalist company Andreessen Horowitz, which invests in massive tech companies. Many think this will be the decentralized metaverse, which everyone plays, compared to Meta or Facebook's completely centralized metaverse, an open world play similar to Sandbox and Decentraland, but theirs is not as good quality as probably Meta's will be. I think Meta will still have players, but who knows? They've got everyone's data, whereas Yuga Labs doesn't. And then back to my coda. So we don't know too much information on what they will do, but we do know they're extremely rare. On the website, it says that they're extremely rare, and we do know that there's 10,000 compared to the 200,000 lands that will be released. There's only 100,000 land released right now. We also don't know how that land's going to be distributed.
As in the next 100,000?
There will be another 100,000 released, but there probably won't be any coders on it because most of them have already been.
Who can claim the next 100,000?
We don't know yet.
Right.
We think it's either people that hold the land or another sale thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so with the current floor price of coders, it's actually 20 ETH or 77K AUD in comparison to the floor of the actual land being 3.5 or 13K. So the floor means like the cheapest one you can buy.
Wow.
So yeah,
Interesting.
I got talk about the FUD though, and the reason what people obviously thought it was going to be worth more than 3.5 ETH a floor because it's Yuga Labs, like it's a massive project. So the community at large wasn't necessarily happy, like the NFT community wasn't necessarily happy with the land sale. As Yuga Labs approached, they basically got rid of $150 million in ETH used in gas. So people spent basically $150 million in ETH total in gas, which was taken out of the market completely. So like people were selling like Doodles and other big projects and all the projects that they had so they could afford gas, but they didn't know it was going to be worth that much. So basically, all those projects, they were the big projects, they all lost value because everyone was selling. And at the same time, all that money just got completely taken out of the market, right? So people aren't happy about that. Although people weren't happy, I think it is still a huge metaverse play and the prices are extremely underrated. Yep. I mean, people say they could have optimized the contract better and stuff like that, but even Vitalik, who's the founder of Ethereum, said, look, there's nothing we thought that they could do better. But people will argue regardless, right? I think people who knew what was happening knew that there was going to be a large ETH spike. If we looked at September last year, there was massive ETH spikes, not that big, but $3,000 like all the time when massive projects were releasing. Yep. But people figured out how to get away around that. Anyway.
Yeah.
But on that really reflects more on Ethereum, to be honest.
100%. 100%.
And then that also segues back to what you said before about why hasn't ETH taken as big of a dump as other projects, is because it's constantly deflationary with those gas things.
Yep. And then
what the fuck do you mean by that?
It's deflationary because the supply is constantly getting reduced
because people are paying gas
with those gas fees and with everything else associated with ETH contracts.
Do you know where gas goes?
Doesn't it just go to nothing?
No, it just goes to, but it goes to the miners.
Yeah,
people who are mining.
And then it pays it back and distributes it. But essentially, that's taken out of the ecosystem, right? To like dumb it down. That's where it's gone. So that's also why ETH is constantly not shitting as bad as other players in the market.
As for beefy blokes though, my land will be used in any way that we can as a hangout in an unexpected and in an expectedly popular metaverse. So we obviously don't know how it's going to be used yet. We don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know. I might probably sell the coda because I know you'll be able to sell off individual resources, and the coda might just be worth more to me to sell it than, I don't know. We'll see. But I definitely will be keeping the land itself because I also have the mutant sediment, which is the second best resource, and it's also I'm in a good location, which is close to the center. So we'll be using it for beefy blokes if we can. I don't think you'll be able to build stuff on it like sandblocks and stuff like that, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But like I'm watching that price like a fucking hawk. Like if it dips much more,
you're buying
in.
Yeah, 100%.
Done. Gone.
Fair enough. Likewise.
Yeah, you'll have to sell off all the other investments.
Well, what's left of them, really?
Yeah, there was an interesting point that came up in a podcast the other day around the metaverse, and it was, well, who's going to win the metaverse? And this one person said, the person who will win the metaverse is the company that can build the hardware that you're going to have to use to get into it.
Yeah.
Well, explain.
So right now, it's like the Oculus glasses.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
So for example, if Facebook come out or Meta come out and they're able to build the hardware.
Well, they own Oculus. What are you talking about?
Exactly. But like, I mean, the more like, as in the, like for example, like whether
they're obviously going to have AR glasses.
But then like Yuga's are going to have to move pretty quick.
I mean, I just think it's true. They have the Meta does have the extreme advantage having everyone's information, and they have the Oculus. They've also bought into other companies with the, like I'm also invested in another crypto called Meta Hero, and that's basically like you stand in like they invented this thing where you stand in like a chamber and there's all these like massive cameras around you. There's all these TVs, and they just take a photo of you and then implements a 3D version of you into a metaverse. So they're going to get bought out by probably presumably who knows what. But like
one of those big techs.
I'm just not bullish on it because it's centralized. But obviously people are going to play it, and I'm probably still going to play Meta because I'll just be able to plug in my Oculus and be all right there.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. It's that ease of just being able to jump straight onto it.
Yeah.
But we also got to remember Andreessen Horowitz is in Yuga, and I don't think they're going to let flop.
No.
They're going to try, and they know that. Yuga knows that there's Oculus has a massive advantage and that they're bringing out a game. I don't think they'd get into it knowing that they couldn't.
No, but it also comes down to timeframes as well. Like, when will this happen?
Yeah, but do you think they really would have got into it knowing that Oculus?
They wouldn't. No.
When do you think it will happen?
I don't know.
I think it'll be a long time. And it'll be.
I've heard people say, like, even I think Gary Vee said it in the Logan Paul podcast. I think 5 years away until the metaverse is even a thing. That's true. People are so overhyping the metaverse thing right now. That's why I think if you're in the other side, just hold that shit. And people looking at the floor price right now thinking, oh my God. It's like, even if they release an announcement explaining everything, it's still not going to be worth it for like another 3 years even, you know, like in my opinion at least.
But I think another really interesting point to be brought up, which a very wise man told us, is so you remember a couple of years ago with all those like segways and stuff, and they said you would never walk through a shopping center ever again. Like that was the general consensus. Yeah. So it's borderline like I know it's like not exactly the same, but people didn't want the Segway because you want to walk around the shopping center like a normal fucking person, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as why would I want to go for a meeting, or, for example, in the metaverse when I'd rather actually go in and have that general like chat with people in the office. And I know there'll obviously be like exceptions, like international meetings and stuff like that. But I think people are overhyping the general use case for it, and people still want.
I think that's wrong. I actually think that's a bad example, and this is why podcast is good, because I actually think that's a bad example. The whole people not wanting to do office meetings and stuff like that, because did you see how good Zoom did? In the
no, I know.
Yeah,
that's why I said that's my exception.
But
company cultures have fucking shut the bed.
Yeah,
100%. But when everyone's using the metaverse, I'm talking long term.
Yeah.
When everyone's using it, it's like going into a Zoom call, but it's way more customized.
I know that, but I just think there'll be a general pushback on it.
Oh, initially, I
That's
reckon.
obvious.
And I don't think it'll be as people envision like every day. Like have you seen those videos of people fucking showering in it and shit?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
it's
it's not
obviously
going to be
gonna
like that, and that's just overhyped and
I think
completely ridiculous.
I think if it's a thing, if it is a technology that people pick up in 30 years, it will be a thing that people do every day.
Yeah.
But not necessarily our generation.
Yeah, I
kids.
don't know. I just can't imagine that being a world that I particularly want to.
Yeah, well, you probably won't.
Yeah, I know, and that's
because to us it's so out of.
There'll
thought.
also be things like Neuralink and stuff like that that really take the metaverse out of the metaverse. And
I think just for our generation and generations all above us, it's just too out of thought to even want to do that. But our kids they'll only know that.
Yeah.
So it'll be like, oh, that's so normal. I'll get on there for school.
Yeah,
I'll get on there, and a big reason why people like people, what do they call people that have theories about stuff anyway? I think a big reason why people think that is because overpopulation.
Yeah.
40 years from now, if there's overpopulation, will be a thing. Like every country will be extremely
and, like,
overpopulated.
remote work and shit like that. All those factors.
Well, if there's more people than there are like there's space, then you're gonna have to get rid of office buildings. You're gonna have to get rid of people are going to start working from in those types of spaces because it seems more realistic than just jumping on a phone call.
Yeah.
But that's like very far away.
Yeah, that is it.
And because it brings third world countries connected.
Yeah, it is definitely going to do bits for connectedness and globalization.
Oh yeah, for third world countries, it's going to do bits.
Yeah.
Like
Speaking of companies and innovation and culture, do you guys see the Starbucks news?
No.
So they're going to release an NFT project. And they're going to be the first like big business to jump on it. And the way it's going to work, it's going to be a part of their loyalty system.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, it's I reckon it's sick. It's just being on that cutting edge. Like although it's only for loyalty purposes, and you've got the NFT and you can show that, and that's like your loyalty card. I think being there first and just letting rolling with the
really
punches, then you can just keep bringing
those really
more
cool
utilities. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought,
especially if they release it now, then they can iron out any issues, be the leaders. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So we'll see.
Someone also told me today, and I'm not going to get into it because I don't know all the information. I didn't even look it up, but it is true. I know that Gucci announced that they're taking payments in ETH.
Wow.
I saw another big company. It might have been Gucci in Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just Bitcoin and ETH.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wild.
That's crazy.
Well, that's a general thing now. A lot of companies will be taking.
But Gucci, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
I mean, we already knew that they did NFT project, but
yeah.
What do you reckon these companies do? And it might be actually one of the guys we can ask is
with their
ETH. is the fellow that we're going to get on.
Yep.
Who knows what they do?
Because he does a lot of the transactions through cryptocurrencies for these luxury watches.
Well, whether he hodls
or if he just converts them straight to USDT, USDC.
Well, I think his is probably a bit different to like Gucci, but because they're probably getting
so
much
about
money
with
in.
that volume of ETH, what are you doing?
For them, they're probably holding it. But for him, it might be like, I'm going to take some out into USDC and
could
then
you imagine,
reinvest.
Hold on, could you imagine if they're like institutionally staking that at like 4% or something?
Yeah,
like that ETH.
That'd be crazy, but they're not.
No, but if they were, imagine that.
Yeah,
like
that would be
compared to
crazy.
their standard holding rates in like, I don't know, fucking Chase Bank or something where they'd be getting 0.2%.
I reckon they're probably just putting it all into Bitcoin, honestly.
Put it all in Bitcoin and ride the wave.
Yeah, because storage of gold, right?
Safe.
Digital gold. I don't know.
Safe.
Who knows? It would be interesting to know what they do with that, I reckon.
I think personally they'd probably just flip it. Oh. No, yeah, they'd probably just flip it.
Gucci, they probably have a lot of money in ETH.
That's true.
And they're a private company still.
Oh, they're private?
Actually, yeah, they're not owned by Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy.
No,
They're private.
Okay,
so.
sorry, I was thinking more so like shareholder fucking distributions, stuff like that.
Oh, no.
All right, what do you got here?
Oh,
You've picked up the book, mate. You're onto something.
No, well, actually, on that note, that's secretive, mate. So on that note, Crow price this week taking big shit on the note of cryptocurrency payments, which I find interesting.
What a surprise.
And Crypto.com, as we all know, is a leader in that space. Like the first ever card that you can actually use that's seamless and you Well, you don't pay with cryptocurrency, actually. You pay with fiat, but it's pretty
That's
easy
dope.
to integrate. So they've taken a big dump this week because they've announced that card holders will get less of a return.
Which is whack.
Yeah, but you got to have a open mind to it all. So just for anyone who doesn't know, it's 3% gone down to 1% for Royal Indigo, which is like the card that I have, which is for, you know, you got a little bit laying around, but you're not balling in it, right? And then the Obsidian Black, I think it is, which is for the big dogs, was 8%. Now it's gone down to 3%.
Interest.
No, yeah, what you get on cash back. So
Like,
every time
Hughesy pays for something,
I got 3% back in Crow. Like 3% of every purchase I ever made, I got 3%, which I thought was pretty cool. Like,
I'm
Jesus
thinking
Christ.
8% to 3% though. That's a big cut for them.
that is a big cut, especially for the big dogs.
Yeah,
But-
because they're probably buying everything they do in it.
That's right. You can buy anything. Like I paid for my hotel
Exactly.
at the Gold Coast, which was a little bit, and to get that cash back was like kind of nice, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but to provide a divergent perspective to that, because everyone's just shitting on it, right?
There's a reason why they've done it.
And rightfully so. But for their long-term sustainability, it probably had to happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of money to be.
It is a lot of money to be just giving out.
If it becomes like widely a thing and everyone starts using it, then yeah, it would be hard for them to keep.
But the bad thing is, right, so if I had that, so for example, personally, I have a bit of Crow staked, right? So my buying price was like nominal. It was nothing a couple of years ago. So it won't personally affect me, but currently it's staked and I can't get it out for another 100 days.
Yeah.
So I can't flip that now and it's just taken a big nosedive down. So that's where I sympathise and empathise with people who would have bought it at 45 cents or even $1 and they're staking it now and they can't do anything.
What's
with
it at now?
40 cents Australian. I don't know what it is in USD.
Yeah, it's like 30 US cents. And it's gone down 20% in the past like 4 days.
Yeah.
Off the bat of that news. But people who have it staked are currently just sitting there watching it go down. You can't do anything about it.
Well, yeah.
I suppose that's the risk of it as well, though, right? Like that's cryptocurrency. If you're going to stake it, and why are they buying it? Do they believe in the Crow sort of thing, or is it?
Well, personally, I think it would be hard not to.
Yeah.
Believe in crypto.com.
Well, then you just leave it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the ASX fucking companies that have shat the bed in the last
That was my second point.
few months. Oh yeah, what do you got there?
No, I was just going to talk about, we're still off the bat of Crow. It'll be interesting to see what they do now. Their CEO released a tweet saying that they're going to redact some of those changes after listening to their community
Shit.
uproar. I mean, but I don't know what you thought was going to happen on that note, like as a company, like what they think was going to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad look.
It is a bad look. Well, Lou, do you have anything you want to bring up before I go back into my...
You go back into yours.
All right, well, keeping on the financial sentiment. So obviously, as we all know, yesterday in Australia, I think it was yesterday, it could have been the day before. Anyway, irrelevant, 0.25 basis point interest rate hike, which was really bound to happen. But then in the US, it was 0.5, right? So that's pretty
What
major.
the fuck does that all mean?
So 0.5% interest rate. Surely you know about that. And we're not going to get into it for the community. It'll be way too hard. We're not turning this into a degenerate university
An economics
lecture.
lecture.
Where I just butcher all the terms and fuck everything up.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how the markets have reacted. And it's been overall pretty bearish, as I'm sure you could all expect.
Again, like I said this like in the first podcast, I think the war's still going on.
The war is still going. And actually, I was watching the news.
And it's getting worse.
Yeah, I was watching the news the other night, and they were saying that.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I never watched
They're
the
in
news.
Kyiv, which is the capital. Kyiv or whatever.
Kiev.
All right, well, tell us about this inflation, Hughesy.
Well, all I can really tell you is so ASX has dumped what? Hey, someone knows here. ASX down 3.5% as of yesterday, just off the bat of that announcement.
So
which
what
is,
does that mean? Like, why is it
the
down
index
3.5%?
is down 3.5%.
Yeah, why?
Well, because they're gonna take out all the money that's been artificially inflated and put into the markets, which I think are quantitative easing, right? Which they did all through the coronavirus pandemic to try and inflate the markets, et cetera, et cetera. Once again, someone can probably roast the absolute fuck out of me off these terms. It's probably completely wrong. So the government essentially is gonna pull all that money out of the stock market,
right?
Indexes, and essentially reclaim their money back. So big red line go down.
Well, yeah.
Which had to happen.
They have the majority of money in it, basically.
It will be interesting to see how economic managers attempt to avoid recession during this time.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm a gold maxi right now.
I mean, everyone knows a massive crash is coming.
Yeah. Has it? Are we
in the midst of it? I'm not sure.
I don't know. People have been saying that since last year.
Actually, we could be in a recession where we've already had one quarter of negative growth, all we need is another.
On the market and companies? Did you guys see Mike Cannon-Brookes, what he's doing with that AGL?
AGL Energy.
Yeah.
In Australia, no.
So are they? I've got it a bit mixed up, but which one's the big carbon emitter? Right. This is going to fucking butcher my story.
Well,
then.
it probably
But
would
pretty
be
much.
AGL. Yeah,
Pretty much what he's doing is he's. It was interesting. So investors, if you don't agree with what a company's doing, do you sell and just be like, nah, fuck it, I'm out? Or do you buy and use your voice as a shareholder
to
change the company? So he's bought 11% of whichever said company it was, and he will now be a majority shareholder. And instead of turning away from it, he's like, I'm going to use my majority vote and majority shareholder status to make a change in this company to make.
Yeah.
I mean,
make
that's
it
a
more
tough
green.
question because it really just depends on the company.
It's very Elon-esque.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Elon. That's what I was.
it is.
First
It's
thought.
very which I thought was fascinating.
Well, that's interesting though, but
Again, it just depends on the company.
And I suppose it depends on how passionate you are about,
yeah.
say,
It also
no more
depends on
carbon
you,
emissions
like, because
and-
it'd be easy for me to sit there and say, I don't want you to emit any more carbon as from like an external perspective, but then they're saying our whole company runs off the basis of energy production. You know what I mean? So that is interesting. Personally, I would just go with the flow and just see.
I definitely wouldn't be the guy that's buying
If
up.
it's going up, I'll hold. yeah.
Let's just say I definitely wouldn't be the guy that buys the 11%.
Yeah, you could really shoot yourself in the foot.
You could.
I mean, yeah, you got to know what you're doing if you're investing that much into something.
Yeah. All right, I got another segment for you, Jackson.
All right. Because I don't have anything else to talk about, so.
You don't?
No.
We've shut the man up.
It's a rare case.
he doesn't even know how to backfire on that.
I wasn't going to backfire.
He's got his beer. He's chilling. All right, overrated, underrated. I'm going to hit you with some NFTs.
NFT projects.
And if you know of the projects, you hit me back as well. I want
He's not
overrated,
gonna know any
underrated,
of them.
and then a sentence as to why. All right?
Okay.
Imaginary ones.
Imaginary ones. Overrated.
Why?
Well, actually, I just don't know enough. I mean,
Okay.
there's still, to be fair, from last week's podcast, floor price is still sitting the same, still haven't revealed yet. So,
What do you think will happen after reveal?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's another one I'm watching as well. I want to see what the floor price, just for the sake of learning, just to see what the floor price does.
Oh,
after
for the sake
reveal.
of learning, yeah.
All right, doodles.
Underrated.
Why?
Well, I think they're fairly rated, honestly. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say they should be worth more right now, but I also wouldn't be saying that they should be worth less because they have done some pretty crazy stuff. They definitely are a blue chip project. I've even seen like IRL stuff of their events. Like they've done some pretty sick stuff at IRL events. And obviously the art's fucking sick and the artist is famous. So, but like, I just don't see them going up much more unless like they do way more utility.
Yep. Azuki.
Everyone's going to flame me because it's like such a massive community, but overrated.
Why?
Because they haven't done as much as Bored Out Yacht Club and everything in their community says they're going to be the next Bored Out Yacht Club. But like, I think they have a massive and extremely good community though. Like they're definitely the second most active community on Twitter for sure.
RTFKT. What is that?
So Artifact
Yeah.
/ like Clone X. Like, so that's just like Nike and the Clone X and that whole brand. I think it's underrated simply just because, yeah, the floor prices are very high right now. Well, obviously just because they're still worth a lot. But like, I just think it's underrated in the sense that like Nike, proven company, I'm a big fan, you know?
You are. Yeah. He's on LinkedIn.
There's no way. Yeah, I think underrated.
Yep. Llamaverse, you've capped off.
Yeah, underrated.
Tripsters, you've capped off.
Overrated, yeah.
Big one. Punks.
Underrated.
Why?
The history, like for some reason they're sitting at like 78th floor. Like obviously that's so much money, But like if you're talking long-term history, the first ever profile picture project, it's bound to be worth shit tons.
Yep.
And they're owned by Yuga Labs now, which could be a bad thing, but I don't know.
Yep. Yep.
Underrated for sure though.
There we go. That's
There
pretty
you go.
good.
And then Beefy Blokes, underrated.
Underrated. 100%. I agree. I had something. If you got something, go for it.
I mean,
Come back to me.
I can just talk a little bit about the 3D animation we're getting done, and then I guess we can wrap it all
Yeah.
off.
Yep.
So yeah, we're getting 3D animation videos made right now. We've got sent photos of the scenes. It looks pretty cool. Should
Yeah,
be
it
good for
does.
marketing.
Sick.
It's just like so you guys can see what the blokes, the NFT would look like in a 3D metaverse setting, I guess. And just to be enjoyable. It's not going to be a storyline, not going to be a series. We're not going to build it because then it'd just be similar to crypto cunts.
Yep.
Which that's a project name, by the way. Yeah, so they're building like a story. We don't want to do that. We're just making the blokes look alive, I guess.
Yeah, just what they'll look like in the other lands, huh?
Well, I mean, that is the plan to eventually get them in a metaverse setting in the future. So, yeah.
It does look pretty sick, though.
But, yeah, we've been working on so much stuff behind the scenes. We did find out that our Linktree, the Discord invite link, had expired for a week. So we were wondering why we weren't getting many members in.
I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, I think it was Lewis. But, yeah, no, we had a slow week member-wise, but it's all right. We got a few collabs coming up. We got an AMA on Tuesday with another Aussie project. This guy's from Melbourne, legend.
Good ideas.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, that's really
Yeah,
it.
back to
mean,
LinkedIn. I got a
project's going
question.
good.
I got a question that came from a member.
Okay.
We'll start with you, Jackson.
Yep.
And you got a minute. You got 30 seconds to answer it.
Yeah. Go on.
Where did 15-year-old you think you would be
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
this year?
15-year-old me, so I'm like midway through 20s now. Oh. 15-year-old me. Well, let me think about what I was doing at 15. Streaming, eating a shit ton of food.
Yeah, big boy.
I probably thought... I honestly didn't think I'd be doing an NFT project, that's for sure. I thought I'd probably just be in uni like everyone else. I'm not going to shit on anyone else, but I probably thought I was just going to be in uni, boring-ass life, you know?
Fighting through.
Probably, to be fair, I definitely thought I was going to be partying, clubbing and all that because that's, I guess, what every 15-year-old thinks. They're going to be clubbing every weekend when I'm 20, living my best life, which I do, but in a different way, you know? I'm matured, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. Hughesy.
I don't know. I think I anticipated I'd be here, actually, to be honest. This very spot. Entry-level job. Oh, actually, I thought I was going to pursue law, though. But
Really?
I always wanted to be a lawyer.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I watched Suits once.
Oh, fuck.
Hooked from there. No.
idea.
I'm honestly exactly the same place.
Well, he did law at school, so
And I'm happy where I've turned out. Well, even though this isn't the final destination, but
nowhere near, mate.
On the journey.
nowhere near, but happy with where we are. No, for context, I'm 21, so that's 6 years down the track.
On the journey.
Yeah. What about you, Lou?
When I was 15, I didn't think I'd go through what I've been through in life, like generally sort of a thing.
Past 8 years, mate.
Well, how old are you now, Lou?
I'm 23.
Yep.
24 this year.
Mate, someone is going mental in that
Yours?
general chat.
No, I think it's my
not.
Discord.
Oh,
Yeah, people blowing me up. Yeah, didn't think I'd be where I am now. Thought I'd go to uni and study the marketing and law degree, but did not ever think I'd be sitting next to you on a couch doing a podcast and an NFT project and
no.
meet this bloody
Yeah, what an honour.
No, it is
with me.
It is kind of crazy. Like, I've known Lewis my whole life. I've also known Daniel my whole life, but from completely different...
Avenues.
Yeah, completely
Yeah.
different.
So yeah, it's just weird. You just say yes to opportunities, yes to learning, and fuck, who knows where life will take you.
So you're happy with where you are?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Well,
on
I think
the
all three of
journey,
us are, to
on
be
the
honest.
journey to happy, constantly trying to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's all that matters, really.
Yeah.
As long as we're
I
on the way.
agree. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well,
awesome. Well, we'll see him. Is next week a guest or?
No.
No,
It's
not
a
next week.
couple of weeks.
I think, honestly,
weeks
we'll
away.
wait to upload this one for another week because
Yeah.
Lewis is going away, so we'll just
Well,
make
we
it.
could actually, we could probably get a guest on, who I'll keep under wraps for
Yeah.
next week, possibly.
when?
Next week sometime.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll
so-
chat about it.
When do
We
you
will
hit?
be getting guests on, like, now. Like,
Pretty soon, really, effective
Yeah.
immediately.
I mean, yeah. I mean, me and Daniel will have exams up in June and
I'll run
assignments and
solo.
stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty full.
But no, we
and then
will be...
Sunday we're having coffee with someone, aren't we, Jux?
Yes, I'm not going to say his name.
Coffee
Australian NFT TikToker. Should be good. Yeah, I've loved his content. Me and Daniel are going to go drive down and see him, and
Have an iced oat.
yeah.
Cool.
That's it.
All right.
Until next time.
Ciao.